Hello nation, and welcome back to the Homestead. Well, today I want to talk to you guys. I want to go over the pros and cons of running your pigs on electric fence out on pasture versus building a solid pig pen and keeping them in a designated area on your homestead. We're going to look at both of them and weigh out the pros and cons of each. All right, so let's look at the parameters of why would you want to put them on pasture, or why would you want to keep them in a pig penned area, in a designated area? Well, first, that really depends on how many pigs you're going to have. If you're just raising a weaner and keeping it from the springtime to the fall, beginning of winter, so that way you can put pork in your freezer, then it's more than likely in your best option to have a little designated area with a physical fence designated up to be able to raise that pig. Anything over one pig, in my opinion, you would want to consider putting them on a rotating pasture thing. So what's some of the pros of having pigs in a pig pen in a designated area? Well, one of the pros is you already know where your pigs are going to be. They're going to be there the entire time. That's it. Two, if you do it with pallets and you can get those pallets for free, it's going to be a lot cheaper for you to do it this way. You can save time with the if you take away the initial setup for it, then there's really no extra time of trying to tear down, move pigs, da 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 da. But the big one, the really big pro is if you build it right and you build it with something solid, your pigs ain't getting out on you, and so you don't have to run around and chase them around on your homestead anywhere. All right, so let's look at the cons. All right, the cons is the damage that it can do to your homestead in that area. Mostly all pigs root and tear up stuff, and so they're going to tear up that area. They're going to root it around. They're going to make pig wallers and stuff like that in there, and that area is going to take it a very long time for it to rebuild or regenerate. The fact we're sitting in an area now where the pigs had to sit for a couple of years because we were having technical issues with our fencing system, and so we had to put our pigs in here. And this area, it's good, it's tilled up, it's really fertilized, but unless we're going to plant something in here for pasture grass and stuff like that to come back, we would have to more than likely overseed, or it's going to get filled with briars and brambles and whatnot. So that's a huge con, in my opinion, when it comes to having a solid pig pen. The other one is if you're going to put more than one pig in here and they're going to be in here for an extended period of time, you have to consider your parasite problem, your worms, and because you're not moving them from place to place, so their fecal matter and stuff like that's going to be here, and they even have a higher chance of getting intestinal parasites. Okay, so now let's talk about the pros and cons about having the pigs behind some electric fencing. Okay, the first pro is you don't really have to worry about parasites that much. As long as you're constantly moving them from paddock to paddock, they won't have enough time to be able to spread parasites around. Two, if you're looking to clear areas out on your homestead to be able to get rid of briars or ivy or any other stuff that you just don't want on your homestead, these guys are the best means to do it. And by being able to put them on electric fencing, you're not really obligated to square boxes or rectangles or anything. You can put this fence in any type of design that you need it to work for that particular situation at that particular time. Now, a con can be the upfront cost. We use the Gallagher Smart Fence, and in my opinion, that's the easiest, best way to run pigs on electric fencing at a time, because you're pulling all 4 strands at one time. So it's a very quick, easy setup, and the way that they have it spread out, and with us adding the turbo wire on the second line, really gives those pigs this opportunity to really respect that wire, and they don't really mess with it. And so, but that costs money. The charger costs money, and extra fence posts to be able to help support the wire and keep it tight costs money if you're running a big. You're also limited by how much wire is on the spool. There's 300 some odd feet in the Smart Fence setup, which in my opinion is more than enough to do. And you're able to keep these pigs in that area for a week or two, and then move them to the next area. A con is that it is a psychological barrier. If anything really spooked these pigs too much, or if the fence got grounded out and we didn't catch it, or like a storm comes in and takes out a bunch of branches like it did over there, and the branches happen to come down on the fence, or it scares the pigs bad enough that they just bolt, you're going to be chasing your pigs. But aside with that, once they're trained and on it really well, you don't really have to worry about that, as long as you're keeping up with their food and water and making sure they have shade and everything that they need, so they don't go wandering looking for it. But minus something is, because if you see right now, they're very nosy, but they're giving themselves 6 to 8 inches between themselves and that fence because they respect it, because of how we train them on it. The other con is that you do have to invest some time in here. You have to move them at least every other week, if not sooner, depending on the amount of pigs that you have. And so, in all honesty, that's all the cons really that I can come up with. Yeah, they can get out because it's a psychological barrier. Yeah, you have an upfront cost when it comes to it, and yeah, if something grounds it out and you don't catch it and it doesn't pack the punch, if they accidentally touch it and nothing gets shocked, they may test it and get out. Your cons, let's go over the cons again on the solid fencing. Could be an upfront cost or no upfront cost, but there's a lot of time putting it together. The damage that they'll cause over a long period of time to that area, and a higher probability to have issues with intestinal parasites. Overall, in my opinion, I think if you have more than one pig and you're raising pigs either as a side hustle to be able to sell pork, or to be able to sell wieners, or to be able to put more than enough, you have a large family, so you want to make sure everybody in your family has pork. Whatever your reason is to have more than one pig, I think the money that you're going to save with not having to buy pork will offset the cost for your electric fencing and your charger, let alone all the stuff that you would have to do to help control parasites, and the time and gas or fuel that you'll need to be able to clear an area where these guys can do it passively for you, so that way you can work on another project on your homestead. So in my opinion, if you're going to have more than one pig, you need to consider putting them on electric fencing like we do. I would strongly suggest the Gallagher Smart Fence. In fact, if you check out in the description box, there will be a coupon code for 10% off of any products that you can purchase at Gallagher. Just go ahead and use that coupon code when you go to check out. That would really help us out a little bit, and it would also give you guys a little bit of a discount. You know, and another big thing that a lot of people that as I get older and further on my walk with this homesteading journey, that a lot of people don't take into consideration when they're thinking about adding a new animal or new garden or something to their homesteads. They never take the time aspect into consideration, because you know, some of us we're looking at, well, this is our lifestyle. This is my job. This is what I'm doing every day. But the time that you will save setting up like a Gallagher smart fence versus setting up that physical fence, you could probably move these pigs 2,000 times or more in the same amount of time that you would set up that one pig pen area one time. So in my opinion, that also throws more pros on the electric fencing than it does the permanent fencing. All right, so if you found this video informative and helpful, hey, hit that old like button. Hey, if you have any questions, please leave them down in the comments below. Hey, if you've been like us and you've done both, what's your opinion? Which one do you think is better for the homestead, the electric or the physical? And if you're considering putting pigs on electric fencing, but you want to know how to get them trained, hey, check out this video that just came up. It'll help you out a lot. Thanks for coming by the Big Bear Homestead. God bless, and have a nice day.